Greater Than 0% is a 501c3 nonprofit that's on a mission to share stories of organizations from around the world that are changing lives. We have weekly episodes featuring amazing nonprofits and monthly episodes interviewing top business executives. You can find us at gtzp.org on your preferred streaming or social media platforms.
All right, so thanks everybody for tuning into this episode. Today we have Lydia Mudazia, the founder and CEO of Vijana Wetu Initiative. Thank you so much, Lydia, for giving us your time today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So we always start by hearing what the mission is of the organizations we're interviewing. So what is the mission of Vijana Wetu Initiative?
Our mission is to basically link disadvantaged children who are from Kibra to mentors around the world and just help them progress, be successful in life.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we will get into the details, but why you? Why is this something that you're committing your time and passions towards?
I have whatever I have. It is kind of personal for me because from my history, my passion came from my history, and because of what I went through in the past, it just so happened that I found myself losing three people that I love most, and so that just it ended up, I ended up reflecting so much on how I can help in my own personal way. So the only way I could help is just to help, with the organization, start a foundation that will help guide and mentor children towards being successful.
All right. So now let's get into the organization. So where is Kibra and what is Kibra?
Kibra is a slum. Kibra is a slum, and it's the second largest slum in Africa. It is in Nairobi, in Kenya, Africa. It is a home to thousands of impoverished families that actually live below the poverty line, actually. Most people who live in Kibra are kind of like disadvantaged. It is not a very, a lot of things are just, the issue about slums are normally not very well organized, let me say, and a lot of things are lacking for people who live there.
Okay. Like what, if you could give some examples, what, so a lot of our listeners, a little context, are based in the US and we have some globally. But before talking to you, I had never heard of Kibra myself. So I'm very uneducated on that place and what is the experience of people and children in that space. So if you want to share kind of a little bit more about that, I think we would appreciate that and be more educated because of it.
Okay. So in Kibra, when I say people are disadvantaged, I mean that first of all, they live in either wooden or mud houses, most of them, and then there are no proper road to get to the homes. There is a river that passes through Kibra that pours sometimes into the homes, and when it rains, sometimes the floods can actually take away the homes, and people live like in a constant battle of whether you'll go to work and come back and find your home intact.
Wow.
So the children who grow up in Kibra suffer from a lot of things because most of the times you find that the parents don't have proper jobs. Because if you have a proper job, like you're earning every month, you can actually move out and go live somewhere else where you can actually pay rent and be safe. So most of the children, they suffer because there's lack of food. The shelter is not up to date. There are no toilets. There are no bathrooms. Most of the bathrooms and toilets, you have to pay to go to the bathroom and to help yourself or even to shower. So there's no food, there's no job. So what happens, the result of this is that most of the children end up dropping out of school. Either they get pregnant because now if a little girl, maybe she's 15 years old and she's so hungry, she might end up sleeping with a man just for a packet of chips.
Mm.
Because there's no food at home, and this man, if he's kind to her, he can take advantage of her.
Mm.
As for the boys, there's these places called, because the houses are so tiny, and most of the times the parents, they end up being on drugs or on alcohol most of the times, because just to remove the stress. So sometimes, from my experience with my children, you find that when the parent comes back home, maybe the father is drunk, and he probably, the room is it's one room, tiny. So the kids are there, the wife is there. Maybe, probably, you'll pardon me for my language, but maybe he wants to have sex and he's drunk. The children are chased outside. So when they go outside, you see the dangers outside, no one is watching them. So they end up, those who know my place, they come to my place. But the others, they end up getting pregnant, because she'll go and she'll be invited into a house with a young man, and you never really know what will happen. As for the boys, they'll end up, there are these things called bays. A base is a place, like, maybe mostly near the road. It's just a shanty built on the road, so that the boys can sit there, just watch the vehicles pass. And if there's anyone who needs him to carry water for him, they can find them there. So what happens at the base is that they just idle over there, waiting for people to pass to borrow them, maybe 20 shillings, or if it is work, you look for them from there. But now there, they end up using drugs. Slowly, if a child keeps going there, they'll probably 90% of the time they'll end up being druggies, because that is where now, even when they finish working, they shower, they go back there, just to idle, tell stories, take drugs, and all that. So the boy child is already very vulnerable, because he can go and sit there as he waits for his parents to finish their business. And the girl child might end up in a man's house and get pregnant, just because of food. You see, so the dangers are many. So when they get pregnant, they stop going to school. The boys, when they start drugs, they stop going to school. They start walking around picking plastics. They can go measure the plastics for some little money, or tins, or even metals. There's a place you can take for just little money, maybe for a bag of chips for the day. So you find that these parents who are drunk, they also are not very keen on the children to go to school. Yeah, because they're drunk, they don't care that much. So for me, I am like a safe space where they can come to me and spend the day. Instead of just roaming around the slum, they can do their talents. We have fun, we have lunch, then they can go back in the evening. Yes.
So yeah, that's a good transition. So Vijana Wetu Initiative it sounds like you have a location. So I'd like to hear about the location, and then do you serve boys and girls, or just boys, or just girls? I'd love to dive into it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Basically, as I told you, my history, it is from my dad, my brother, and my late husband. They all died from alcohol-related problem. So I took it upon myself, because I saw the way my mom was suffering because of what used to happen. I used to love my dad very much, but I saw what used to happen when he gets drunk. Sometimes he goes out and the money, all the salary is gone and all that, because of drunkenness. So it affected me. And I realized that if we don't do something about the boy child, the girl child suffers, whether we like it or not. But when I started, the girls are very aggressive. They came and they took over and they joined, and I could not do anything about it. So I developed another program to also deal with the girls, because I found that to be a blessing as well, because I also needed to tell the girls that you must also just live with boys in harmony, because we are together in this community and we all have to live together. So I have both. But my initial intention was not to have girls, but I'm now dealing with it. yeah. So that's what happened.
So for the boys programming, what were some of the initial activities that you did to, attract the boys to come to your programming versus just, stay and hang out and do their own thing? What was the initial attraction? How did you get them to come and participate?
It was kind of easy, because I'm lucky enough to have some space outside my house. So yeah, since I have some space, So we use that space. I teach them in the open to avoid a lot of cases. So I just started putting music outside, and the kids love music.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I put music, they came. They thought there's a birthday party.
They're like, what's going on here? I want to join the
Yes,
party.
yes. So when they came, I just told them, come, just come in, just come in. And then we made some very nice lunch. And then, of course, as the lunch was getting ready, I gave them some juice. That is the first thing. And then I started talking to them about men. I just mentored them on how to live a good life, to stay out of prison, just basic things.
Yeah.
And then I realized on that first day, I spoke about like 7 topics. And I saw that this is not working. So I decided to come up with a program where I teach them systematically. Like one day I can teach them about safety, just safety, walking on the road with our roads. If you walk carelessly, you can get hit by a motorbike. So I just talk about safety one day. The next day I can talk about first aid. The next day I can speak about understanding their bodies. So I did something like a module-based thing.
Right.
So that my intentions were when they reach a point, maybe after 6 months, they can graduate. That is like the stage 1. So like if you do stage 1, you've done safety, you've done basic first aid, you've done, like you basically can live in the community like a normal person. Yeah. So that is. So when I told them, I sent them back to go and call their friends. And I told them that every Saturday we'll be having lunch and we will dance and do everything that can make them have fun. So all kids love music. I think the kids I've met, they all love music. Even the ones who don't like to dance, they like to watch the others dance.
Yeah.
So my place is always crowded. Yeah, it's always crowded. There are those who just come and sit and watch. So the beauty about it is that so long as they're all there, when it comes to time of learning, they all listen and they all have lunch together.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's not been very hard because they know that at least on Saturday they are sure of a meal.
Yes.
And they are sure they can dance. And when one of them has a birthday, I try to get a small cake just to make them feel appreciated. So they like to belong to us because they know that now at least someone cares. Some kids have never had a birthday their entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that I've done to return. And then like yesterday, when we went to the kids festival, they were awarded certificates. Those are government-made certificates. So those certificates, they're not easy to come by. So that is one motivation that even the ones who didn't manage, because some of them had gone to school, they really felt bad because those certificates, they can actually use those certificates later in life to prove that they were involved in active what do you call it? Active participation in the kids festival. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. And so that was is that mostly the boys programming, or do you do that programming with girls as well?
No, all the children. The kids festival was for every child.
Yeah. Awesome. And then for the girls, you said that you had to create an additional program because there are so many girls in attendance. What type of programs are you doing with the girls specifically? Or starting to do? Yeah.
When the girls, like when it comes to dancing and singing, they all do it. They all do poetry together and all. But when it comes to the girls, I usually separate them and teach them about menstrual hygiene and how to avoid getting in trouble with boys. Like a girl can she can be lured just because of like 100 shillings. So I talk to them about that. I tell them not to fear coming to me if they're hungry.
Yeah.
So I tell them specifically not to allow themselves to find themselves in a closed space with a boy because anything can happen. So I try to warn them against the dangers of hanging around boys in a private space. So we always dance out in an open space. And so I just try to educate them on just staying safe so that they finish their education before they can decide to have babies.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the group of girls I started with, none of them has ever gotten pregnant.
Wow.
And then the other thing that I do with the girls is that I have this program that I have not actually done it, but it's in my mind. But I talk to them about it. I have the intention of having a purity ball at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is where if you have a mentor or a father, you can dress up. We get a venue, a nice venue where they'll be driven in style. And then now when they come there, they do like just a short pledge to promise to stay pure for as long as they're in school. So when we get there, my intentions are also to just get some sponsors to give them some gift, just to encourage them, so that we can avoid this early pregnancy thing. It's such a bad thing. It's so much in Kibra. It is such a big menace because kids getting kids, and then they have to go back to school. It's just a whole mess. So if you can encourage them, because if the kid knows that at the end of the year, they'll get something, like maybe a phone, for example, instead of accepting 100 shillings, they will wait for the phone.
Mm.
And then the glamour that will come with it, they would like to associate themselves with the program. So actually that has kept these kids going.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to, none of them has disappointed me yet.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that what I like about it is that they all protect each other. If someone sees another one behaving badly,
that's awesome.
They come and report back to me. So I speak to the person who's probably who is like at risk. That the kids also can fall in love and all that. So if someone is seen in a funny situation whereby they can bring, so I just speak to them openly. I tell them the feelings are there. It is not bad, but how are you keeping yourself safe?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I mean, your story of sharing an example of some girls because they don't have access to food a lot of times, having sex for a bag of chips, like in your space, you're providing the space and providing food, and in a lot of these examples where if you're the one providing them food, you're preventing them from having sex and maybe having babies at a very young age and dropping out of school. So that's a huge impact that you're having.
Thank you.
I know we're just talking about this like it's a normal conversation, but a lot of the conversations that I've had are with organizations in the US and they're facing challenges, right? But they're very different challenges. And so, these are types of challenges that we're not exposed to folks here in the US, right? So wow. So I'd like to talk about your future plans for Vijana Wetu. So you have programming for boys, you started the programming for girls. You talked about having a chair, a ball in the future to promote staying chastile, that's a word, right? Yeah, until finishing school. So I'd like to talk more about your vision for kind of the future and how you want to continue growing Vijana Wetu.
Okay. The immediate thing that I would wish to do is just to build a small office where we are, because we have a space that someone just offered the space. So it's not our space.
Right.
But we can build something temporary for the time being. However, my future plans, maybe like in the next 4 or 5 years, would be to find a good space and build a talent school for Vijana Wetu so that we can save many more children. Because children are crying for help. But actually, I wish we were many more people doing this. But people have different. There are many organizations, but they're doing different things.
Yeah.
However, if we can prevent the child from getting messed up at an early age, we do the preventive, we'll end up with many, many more mature adults who are productive in society. So instead of waiting for them to become addicted to something, then you come in and start helping, why can't we invest some money in preventing them? So that is my idea. Like, because I really believe my dad probably would be still around if at all someone had spoken to him earlier in his early stages. So that is what my main aim is actually to prevent. So if we can have a school, even maybe just for even 300 children in future, it will be awesome to change their lives, talk to them, bring in people from, like even people like you to come and speak to them and encourage them. Yes, that is my biggest vision. And these children just to be happy and go back and help their families. Because if you find that your father is so addicted he can't even give you a basic needs, then that means he also needs help. So it is these children who come and help their families later.
Yeah.
And then we can just spread the word and have a community that has people who are helping each other and growing well.
Yeah. A random question.
So
Yep, go ahead. Sorry.
My immediate problem is where we are dancing, where we do our activities, we need a floor and a roof, because we just do it it is an open space that we don't yet have a floor, we don't have a roof, but we are working with what we have.
Yes.
Yeah, but the kids don't mind. They don't say there's a problem, but me, I feel like the dust can eventually become a problem, like can bring some, maybe asthma or something. So when it rains, we can't train. So that is all we need for now, like just a roof and a floor, and maybe just support with the food, the weekly pack, the weekly program, because I cook for them on weekends. On weekdays they go to school.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just, yeah. So sometimes you find that I'm having difficulty like finding enough food to cook for them. But I try most of the times. I do try to make sure that they have something, because they can't dance the whole day and go back home hungry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't allow that. So
yep.
that is our biggest challenge.
Okay. Now, in terms of like the process of having a location or building a location, what is, I don't know if you've able to convert what the cost is of that. So again, US things are priced very differently. So do you have any idea of what the cost is of first, like food that you provide? Maybe if you've able to translate that into US dollars, or even the building to build. Have you gotten like pricing and quotes and everything for what it costs to build this and to provide food at all?
There are two programs here. There's the temporary and then there's the long-term plan. The food that it costs us around 50,000 per week, shillings, Kenya shillings.
Okay, gotcha. I don't know what the conversion is. I'd have to look up the conversion.
We will calculate later. I think a dollar is around 120 shillings, Kenya shillings. 130 now, 130 shillings, 130 Kenya shillings right now.
Gotcha. So yeah, so 50,000 Kenyan shillings 50, is 356 US dollars. And what's that for? Yeah. That's food for?
Not only food, the whole budget together with the chef. There's a chef over there. There's the handyman, the person who helps moving around things, putting the chairs in order. Yeah, things like that.
And is that then 50,000 shillings per week or per month or per year or?
Per week.
Per week. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes. So that is for everything generally, because we hire seats, we hire a seat, we hire a tent. So I'll just put that together. Maybe I can break it down later, but it's for everything. Yes, it's for everything. So yeah, then I also I do them a small package. It's called, I usually call it a hygiene pack, under the same. So I put like a small toothpaste. I put a bar of soap, and then for the girls, I can put in a packet of pads, a panty, and for the boys, I can put a boxer and a soap and toothpaste.
Yeah.
So that at least when they go, they can stay clean, because you have to be clean on the inside and the outside. So I try to tell them, don't come to Vijana Wetu when you're smelling of sweat. So I have a right to ask them to take them back home because I gave you soap.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is amongst that 50,000.
Yep. Okay. That makes sense.
I avoid giving. I avoid giving all, like if I give them a lot, maybe like 4 bars of soap. Even the parents, sometimes they can go and sell the soap or something. So I just give them 1 per week, and if it rolls over, whatever. But when it gets finished, to come back for more, like that. So that is a way of also just making sure that they're responsible.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what would it cost to build a building in in Kenyan shillings?
Okay.
What is it?
Sorry.
No, I'm just curious.
Sorry.
I'm
Yeah,
curious.
I was supposed to. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, the place first you have to buy the land. So the land could cost like around 5 million shillings.
Mm-hmm.
And then now building now it could take around again 5 million. Could be
Yep.
around the same. I have not really, but I have not really calculated, but I'm sure that is around that much, around 5
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
Would do maybe some classrooms and some nice dormitories just in the dining hall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around that.
So, and
A
I'm
bit.
doing the live conversion right now. So 5 million Kenyan shillings looks like 35,000 US dollars for the land and 35,000 for the building. That's just like for listeners that like me who can't, do currency exchanges in our head.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you
Awesome.
for conversing to me.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, great. That's amazing. We of course wish you the best of luck in that future goal that you have, and people that are listening. If you're actually, let's talk about engagement. So, what type of engagement are you looking for from our listeners? Whether most of them are based in the U.S., but global listeners as well.
Awesome. First of all, sometimes it can be challenging to ask someone like an individual to take care of a whole organization that has probably 30 children. So if at all there's someone who can just hold the hand of one child, I would really, really be grateful, because in that way, then they take themselves as the big brothers or big sisters of these children. And so anything concerning that child, they would probably, if the child has a challenge, I can contact them, because probably most of the parents don't have phones. And then, maybe the child doesn't have books or something, whatever. But even just talking to the child to encourage the child. For example, someone is staying in Germany or in America, and the child is really looking forward to impress that person, so that maybe one day he can join that person in the US. You see that can do to the child.
Yeah.
The child will study hard. So just call the child, maybe even once in a while, just to say hi and just find out how they're doing and encourage them to read. That is the most, I think if all my children would be taken, I would be so grateful for that alone. Although, of course, yeah, I would be so happy. Like if all my children are just like have a mentor, that will take off so much of the load on me. But of course, we also would like to have a structured place where the children can be safe.
Yep.
So that even when the mentor decides to come to Kenya to visit their small brother, small sister, they have a place to land and they can be comfortable. Yeah. So we would like also some financial help, whoever can manage and whatever they can, because at least now they have an idea of what we need.
Yeah.
We need food every week. We need to hire the tent. We need to hire the seat. We need t-shirts. We need we need quite a bit. The kids don't have shoes for school. Sometimes, so if I speak to your heart, you can just give whatever you feel, because we are really, really in need, and the children are not in a position to. They just need help. Let me just say that. So whatever financial needs someone can help, let them just help. But it would be better also if even if you're helping financially, just to pick a child, I'd be so grateful. So that at least I'm sure, like, not that I'm like specifying, but I'll be so much relieved with that. It will be so much awesome if a child could have a big brother or a big sister. So that is the kind of help I need. And then on the purity ball, the purity ball is like something I intend for once a year. It is not only for the girls, it is also for the boys, because boys they also get into relationships, and they also need the same protection as girls, because we have had cases in Kibra of small kids being sodomized. And they go play basketball until late hours, and a child is found on the basketball pitch because he doesn't want to go back home early. So he gets sodomized, things like that happen. So if all of them can stay pure, at least until an age where they can actually decide for themselves what they want, yeah, because we support whichever direction a child wants to take, but let them do it when they are ready, mature enough to make a decision. So it would be nice if we can make it successful. And I would love to, in fact, I wish that maybe on that day, that if we have any mentors, they just come on board and come and witness the children, having the whatever, the event. And this one might, I would have loved it to be very kind of high profile a little, because I would like it to be a dress up event. It could cost around maybe 2 to 3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Because we would like to have a venue that is safe. We would like these children to come from the slums and go to a place like, probably we have a nice restaurant called Carnival. The experience can change a child's life completely, because now they can be driven to the event and then they can just experience a high profile life. Now, when they go back to the slum, they would not want to stay there. They'll keep working to get out of the slum because of that experience. And when they make that pledge, they will stick to it so that they can come back next year and experience the same. So with that one also, I would like maybe some financial help, or someone, if someone has a gift, maybe one of the people can just say, I'll give the children books. The children who will be at the purity ball, I'll give them maybe t-shirt, whatever someone decides to come up with. I'd be very grateful. Though the financial part it cannot be avoided, but whatever someone brings, I will appreciate, because I'm not going to insist that you must give me money. No, someone can just ask, how many children do you have? Then you can bring t-shirt, maybe 30 t-shirts for the kids, just saying, maybe, just a nice t-shirt just to remind them of the football, or even bracelets, anything. Anything that someone feels, because you never know why someone would be giving something. I believe that God will have spoken to them in a different way, not necessarily how I'm looking at it. So if someone comes with a t-shirt, the child will wear the t-shirt for the whole year, remembering that it was given at the purity ball. So financial is good, but even other help. Maybe someone can say, let me pay for a limousine for the day to pick the children from Kibra to the venue. That will be awesome.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of, So there's so many ways of helping, or even pay for the venue, or maybe pay for the food for that day. Anything would be very awesome for that, to make that be successful.
Yeah. Do you have the date set yet for that, for that ball, or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, just checking if we're working backwards from a date. But okay, well, people that are listening, I'm sure this is inspiring to you as it has been to me. Get engaged. How could people contact you?
Okay. So my email is lydiamdasia@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Lydia, LYDIA. It's one word. Mudasia, MUDASIA @gmail.com.
Amazing. Well, Lydia, thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to leave us with or share before we wrap up this episode?
Okay. My if you want to send me a letter or anything, my box number is 50477, Nairobi, Kenya. The post office code is 00100. That is for Nairobi. So I'll say that again, 50477. And then can I share my phone number, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll also share all this information too in the notes. But yeah, you could absolutely share your phone number. Yes.
Okay. My WhatsApp number, you can reach me through 254-728-050341. Plus 254-728-050341. That is Lydia. Just say hi, and we will be able to communicate. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Lydia, thank you so much for your time today and sharing the amazing work you're doing with the boys and girls in Kibra and in Nairobi. It's really amazing. It's really amazing the work that you're doing, and I think for a lot of the listeners here, including myself, these are stories that we are not experiencing, every day in the U.S. So thank you so much for your time. I know it's late there. I really appreciate your time, and people that are listening, get engaged however you feel compelled to and however you are able to. And Lydia, thank you so much for your time today.
I really appreciate the invite. I really, really am grateful to you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really, really am grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Greater Than 0%. To find more episodes or to have your organization featured on the podcast, you can find us at gtzp.org on your preferred streaming or social media platforms. Find your cause with Greater Than 0%.